page 314, section 17. The heading should be Concepts and Mind and Matter for Mind. So you add concepts there. So this is Panyati, Nama and Rupa to Nama. Concepts, mind and matter to mind. And there are two conditions here. In two ways, concepts and mind and matter are conditions for mind, namely by way of object and decisive support. So, concepts, mind and matter are conditioning states, and mind is here conditioned state. And there are two conditions. One is object condition and the other is decisive support. Object is sixfold as visible form, etc. Now you know sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and Dhamma objects. You remember the Dhamma objects? It is not the same as the Dhamma objects we find in Mahasatipatthana Sutta. Here it is different. You have to go back to third chapter. Sensitivities, right? And subtle matter, Citta, Cetasika. And then? Nibbana. So, they are called mind, Dhamma objects, and also Panyati. So, sixfold objects are the conditioning states of object condition. And then the conditioned states. What are the conditioned states of object condition? Now you read the guide. The 6 classes of objects are the conditioning states in this relation. The conditioning and corresponding Cetas and Cetasikas are the conditioned states. So, Cetas and Cetasikas are conditioned states, and 6 kinds of objects are conditioning states. Object condition is not difficult to understand. So you see something, and there is the visible object, and there is the seeing consciousness and Cetasikas. So visible object is a object condition for seeing consciousness and its Cetasikas, like that. And when you think of something, then that is, when you take, let's say, the sensitivities as object, then you are taking the Dhamma object. So in that case, the other types of consciousness and the Cetasikas going along with it is the conditioned state, and the objects are conditioning states. There are no Dhamma which is not the object, right? So all ultimate realities plus Nibbana are the object condition. And Cetas and Cetasikas are the conditioned states. The next is Upanisaya, decisive support, or strong support, Upanisaya. And this upanisya is threefold. Object, decisive support, aramana, upanisya. Proximity, decisive support, anandara, upanisya. And natural, decisive support, pakati, upanisya. So there are three of them. Of them, the object itself, when it becomes prominent, serves as object decisive support. When it becomes prominent means when it is taken intensely. Now there are some objects which are taken intensely, and there are objects that are not. So here, objects that are taken intensely are the conditioning states of this condition. In the guide, it is said, object decisive support is a condition where the conditioning state is an exceptionally desirable, so very desirable object, such as the Buddha picture or Buddha statue, or important object, which causes the conditioned states, the mental phenomena that apprehend it, to arise in strong dependence on it. So, when they take the object intensely, they are said to be in strong dependence on it. Now, when we see the statue of the Buddha, we have joy, we have saddha or devotion, and so for Buddhists, Buddha statue is a object decisive support condition. And here we have to understand which conditioned states take which conditioning states as object. So, you have to look at this chart. Aramana adhipati and aramana upanisya. Aramana adhipati and aramana upanisya. So there, on the conditioning side, 72 lokiya chetas, 47 chetasikas, desirable 18 nibbana rupas. You know nibbana rupas, right? The first 18. They are the aramana, here aramana upanisya. Aramana upanisya condition for the 8 lobha mula chetas. So 8 lobha mula chetas take those objects, 76 lokiya chetas, 47 chetasikas, and 18 nibbana rupas intensely. So 76 lokiya chetas and so on are the conditioning states, and 8 lobha mula chetas are conditioned states. And then 17 lokiya kusala chetas are the conditioning states for full kamavajra kusala chetas without jnana and accompanied by knowledge. So full kamavajra kusala chetas and accompanied by knowledge take 17 lokiya kusala chetas as strong object or very desirable object, or they take those objects intensely. And then 20 kusala chetas, that is 21 except Abhidhamma cheta, and lower 3 phala chetas and nibbana are the conditioning states for full kamavajra kusala chetas with jnana accompanied by knowledge. So 4 Kamavajra Kusala Chetas accompanied by knowledge take 20 Kusala Chetas, 3 lower Phala Chetas, and Nibbana as object, as intense object. And then Arahata Magga, Arahata Phala Chetas, and Nibbana. They are the conditioning states for 4 Kamavajra Kiriya Chetas with Jnana. So 4 Kamavajra Kiriya Chetas accompanied by knowledge take Arahata Magga Cheta, Arahata Phala Cheta, and Nibbana as intense object. And then 8 Lokuttara Chetas take Nibbana as intense object. So it is a little different from ordinary object condition. In ordinary object condition, they just take the object, just that. But here, they take these objects, these chetas on the right side, take the objects on the left side intensely. So those that take objects intensely are 8 Lobha Mula Chetas, 8 Kamavajra Kusala Chetas, right? 4 Kamavajra Kiriya Chetas accompanied by knowledge, and 8 Lokuttara Chetas. So here not all Chetas and Cetasikas are conditioned states. Only some of them are conditioned states, and they take their respective intense objects as objects. When we understand Aramana Upanisya, we will understand Aramana Adhipati, which we will meet later. So this is Aramana Upanisya. And the next one is what? Proximity, decisive support, Anantara Upanisya. Now you have met Anantara, right? Proximity. So proximity decisive support is identical with proximity condition with respect to the conditioning and conditioned states, the same, but differs from it slightly in the forces of the conditions. So this difference is very subtle and very slight. So it's okay even if we don't understand it. Proximity is a force which causes the succeeding mental states to arise immediately after the preceding states have ceased. Proximity decisive support is a force which causes the succeeding states to arise because they are strongly dependent on the ceasing of the preceding states. So here, they have strong force for the succeeding Chetas and Cetasikas to arise. But actually, they are pretty much the same. So whatever is Anantara Upanisya. And the third one is the widest, most comprehensive. Pakati Upanisya. Or it can be separated as Pakata Upanisya. But let's follow Pakati Upanisya here because the English translation here is natural decisive support. It is a wide relation that includes, as the conditioning states, all past mental or material phenomena that become strongly efficacious for the arising at the subsequent time of the conditioned states which are subsequent Chetas and Cetasikas. Now here, conditioning states are what? All past mental or material phenomena. And conditioned states are subsequent Chetas and Cetasikas. Actually, Panyati also is the conditioning state here. So let us read the translation first. The natural decisive support is of many kinds. States of lust, etc., states of faith, etc., pleasure, pain, individuals, food, season, lodgings. So all these are the Pakati Upanishya conditioning states. Now, states of lust, etc. means states of lust, hate, delusion, and so on. All akusala states. And states of faith, etc. means all kusala states. Now, prior lust may be a natural decisive support condition for the volitions of killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, etc. That means a person has lust. So depending on that lust, he may commit killing or stealing or sexual misconduct or any other akusala act. Then, in that case, lust that arose before is a decisive condition for a killing, stealing, and so on, which arise later. So they do not arise at the same time and they do not arise immediately. The conditioning state may arise at one time and conditioning states arise at another time. Sometimes it may be years. Now, prior lust can be a natural decisive support condition for kusala states also. You want to get rid of lust. So you practice dana and giving, or sila, keeping precepts, and bhavana. So in that case, prior lust or prior raga is a natural decisive support for kusala, which arises later. You want to get rid of lust, right? And then you practice meditation. So in that case, lust is a decisive support condition for the chetas and chetasikas that arise during your meditation. So, akusala can be a decisive support condition for kusala. And then prior faith for the volition, for the volitions of giving alms, undertaking precepts, and practicing meditation. Now you have saddha. Depending on saddha, you practice dana, sila, and bhavana. In that case, saddha is the decisive support, conditioning state, and later kusala is the conditioned states. Here also, saddha can be the decisive support condition for later akusala. With saddha, you make some donation, and then you see the person using it improperly, and then you have disappointment, or you have remorse or something. So in that case, prior faith or saddha is a decisive support for later akusala. So kusala can be decisive support condition for kusala and also for akusala. Not only that, for indeterminate abhyagata also. So depending on faith, a person practices meditation and say he becomes an arahant. Then the Kiriya Chetas that arise in the arahant are conditioned by the faith, a prior faith. So in this relationship, actually anything can be the decisive support condition for anything, almost. So this is states of lust, etc., and states of faith, etc. Here we take just faith as an example. Or we can take other things also, like giving, or good learning, or there are many things. And then the next is what? Pleasure. Now pleasure can be the decisive support condition for both kusala, akusala, and abhyagata, right? Pleasure here means sukha. So sukha means bodily sukha. So you have bodily sukha, and if you are attached to bodily sukha, then it is the decisive support condition for your akusala. Or you have kusala, you have sukha, and in order to get sukha in the future, you do meritorious deed, dana or sila or bhavana, and in that case, sukha is the decisive support for kusala. And as a result of what you do, you may get results. So these results are also conditioned by sukha here. So sukha can be the decisive support condition for both for kusala, akusala, and abhyagata. Pain, same thing. You have pain, and if you are sorry for pain or distressed, then pain is the decisive support condition for your akusala. But you have pain, and in order to get rid of pain, you may do something good. You may bow down to the Buddha, or you may recite something. So then pain is a decisive support for your kusala, and so on. And then individuals, good friends. So depending upon a good friend, you can get kusala or sometimes akusala. So a friend is also a decisive support condition for your kusala or akusala or abhyagata. Food. So you eat good food, and what? You have a good feeling, right? So food can also be when you eat good food, you have good feeling. When you eat bad food, you have bad feeling, and so on. So it can be also decisive support. Season. When it is too cold, you are angry, or you may be depressed, or when the season is, or the climate is fair, sunny and bright, you feel good. So season can also be the decisive support condition. Lodgings, now dwellings. You live in a good place or a bad place, and then that may be the condition for your kusala or akusala, and also abhyagata. Now, all such things, internal and external. That means other person's lust can be the decisive support for your kusala. Now you see raga in some other person, and then you try to get rid of your raga. So you practice meditation. So in that case, another person's raga, lust, is a decisive support condition for your practice of meditation, which is kusala. It can apply to everything here. So, decisive support condition is a very wide one. Although it is wide, on the condition, among the conditioned states, there is no rupa, just citta and cittas and cetasikas. Now there is what is called Sautanta Pakata Upanisaya. What we are studying is Abhidhamma. It is said that Sautanta Pakata Upanisaya, Pakati Upanisaya is wider than Abhidhamma Pakati Upanisaya, wider than Abhidhamma decisive support. So in that case, even rupa can be the conditioned states of Pakati Upanisaya condition. But that is Sautanta method. Because when something is, some other thing arises, like that. So they can be explained as being related as cause and effect. But in Abhidhamma, only cettas and cetasikas are said to be the conditioned states of Pakati Upanisaya. So sometimes when we cannot explain any of the 24 conditions, we just say, oh, it is according to Sautanta Pakati Upanisaya. So it is very wide. Okay, now Aramana and Upanisaya are the conditions for concepts, mind and matter to mind. So on the conditioning side, there are concepts, mind and matter, and on the conditioning side, only mind. That means cettas and cetasikas. Next is mind and matter for mind and matter. So mind and matter do mind and matter. And there are 9 conditions. Predominance, connaissance, mutuality, support, nutriment, faculty, dissociation, presence, and non-disappearance. So these 9 are for mind and matter to mind and matter. So that means both the conditioning states and conditioned states consist of mind and matter. Now the first one is adipati, predominance condition. Predominance condition is twofold. There are 2 kinds of predominance condition. And they are: 1, object predominance, aramana adipati. And 2nd, connaissance predominance, connaissance condition. So adipati condition is of 2 kinds: aramana adipati and sahajata adipati. Now aramana adipati is the same as aramana upanisaya. So the same chart will serve as aramana adipati. Whenever there is aramana upanisaya, there is aramana adipati, and whenever there is aramana adipati, there is aramana upanisaya. So they are identical. The second one, sahajada adipati. Since there is the word sahajada, you understand that they must arise together and exist together. So here, sahajada adipati is a condition where a conditioning state dominates conditioned state's connaissance with itself. So they must arise together. And one is the predominance condition, and the others are the conditioned states of that condition. How many adhipatis are there? 4 adhipatis. And you remember them? Chanda, Viriya, Citta, Vimansa. Page 276. You can go back to page 276. No. 274. Predominance. 4 predominance. 1, predominance of desire, that is chanda. 2, predominance of energy, viriya. 3, predominance of consciousness, citta. And 4, predominance of investigation, vimansa. Vimansa means actually jnana, wisdom. So these 4 are the conditioning states of connaissance predominance condition. But only one on a given occasion, only one can be the predominant condition. Although there may be 2 or 3 of these arising together, not all 3 or 4 can be the conditioning states of predominance, because adhipati means chief, supreme. So there must be only one adhipati at a time. So when chanda is adhipati, the others are not adhipati, like that. So when we take chanda as the adhipati condition, then the other 3 and the cetasikas are the conditioned states. So the conditioning states in this relation are of the 4 predominants: desire, energy, consciousness, and investigation. Only one of these can take on the role of predominance condition on a given occasion, and then only in javana cetas. Now, go to page 276. Above kite 22. Only one predominant is obtained at a time, according to circumstances, and only in javanas with 2 roots and 3 roots. So here also you must understand that. Only in javana cetas means only in 2 root and 3 root javana cetas, not in 1 root javana cetas. The connaissant mental and material phenomena are the conditioned state aura. So, what ceta can we take? Chanda. Okay, the first lopa mula ceta, right? How many cetasikas? 19. So, is there chanda with lopa mula ceta? Yes. Then we take chanda as the conditioning state. Then the others, ceta and other cetasikas, are conditioned state. Then chanda. Is there viriya? Yes. Then we take viriya as conditioning state and chanda and others as conditioned state. Chanda, ceta. Viriya. Now, we take ceta as conditioning state. Laupa mula ceta as conditioning state, and the 19 cetasikas as conditioned states. Vimansa? No. So in order to explain vimansa, what ceta must we take? Kama vajra kusala, right? First, let's say first kama vajra kusala ceta. How many cetasikas? 38. So there, chanda or viriya or ceta itself or panya is conditioning state, and the others are conditioned state. So since they arise together, they are called Sahajata Adhipati. So they must arise together with the states they condition. So Adhipati has two varieties. One, Aramana Adhipati, and two, Sahajata Adhipati. The next is the connaissance condition, Sahajata. Connaissance condition is threefold, or three kinds. Consciousness and mental factors are a condition for one another and for the connaissant material phenomena. That is one. The four great essentials mutually, and for the derived material phenomena. That is two. And then three, the heart base and the resultant mental aggregates for one another at the moment of rebirth linking. So here, connaissance condition is described in three sentences. One is, on the conditioning side, what? Citta Cetasika, right? And on the conditioned side, Citta Cetasika and Sahajata Rupa, right? Yeah, connaissant material phenomena. And then four great essentials, we cannot take consciousness here. Four great essentials are on the conditioning side, and on the conditioning side, four great essentials and the derived material phenomena, or Ubhara Rupa. And then third, heart base and the resultant mental aggregates for one another at the moment of rebirth linking. So at the moment of Patisandhi, we take heart base as conditioning and the resultant aggregates, Cetas and Cetasikas, as conditioned. And then Cetas and Cetasikas as conditioning and heart base as conditioned. They arise together, and some are also reciprocal. Now Cetas Ceta Cetasika to Ceta Cetasika, they are reciprocal. But Ceta to connaissant material phenomena, not reciprocal. So Ceta to Ceta Cetasika to Ceta Cetasika, Ceta Cetasika to Ceta Cetasika, back and forth. Yeah. And then Ceta Cetasika to connaissant material phenomena. That is only one side. Okay, Lobha Mula Ceta. First Lobha Mula Ceta, 19 Cetasikas and Rupa born of Ceta. Right? So, you take any of, let us take Ceta as conditioning state. Then Cetasikas and Rupa are conditioned state. And then four great essentials, Pathavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayo. And there are other Ubhara Rupas also. So you take one as conditioning state, and the other three essentials and Ubhara Rupas as conditioned states. Let us say you take earth element as conditioning, then water element, fire element, air element and other ubara rupas are conditioned like that. So ubara rupas are only on the conditioned side, not on the conditioning. And the third is heart-based and cognizant cetas and cetasikas. So when we take heart-based as sahajata condition, cetas and cetasikas are conditioned states. When we take cetas and cetasikas as conditioning state, then the heart-based is conditioned state. So, at the moment of patisandhi, there is reciprocal conditioning between nama and rupa. But during life, there is only one-way conditioning, not reciprocal. So, ceta cetasika on one hand, on the conditioning side, and on the conditioned side, ceta cetasika and rupa. And 4 essentials on the conditioning side, and on the conditioned side, 4 essentials and ubara rupas. Number 3. Heart-based as conditioning, ceta and cetasikas as conditioned. Ceta and cetasikas as conditioned, heart-based as conditioned. Right. If you understand cognizance condition, you understand mutuality condition. In mutuality condition, you don't find rupas. I mean, in the first one, you don't find rupa. So here, ceta cetasika. Both conditioning states and conditioned states are cetas and cetasikas. No rupa here, because during life, rupa and nama are never reciprocal. And the 4 great essentials for one another. Here also, only 4 great essentials on the conditioning side and 4 great essentials on conditioned side. Now, the heart base and the resultant mental aggregates, they are also mutually conditioned. So when we take heart base as conditioning, and mental aggregates are conditioned. When we take mental aggregates as conditioning, then heart base is conditioned. So, the cognizance condition and mutuality condition, which is wider? Cognizance condition is wider. So, wherever there is mutuality condition, there is cognizance condition. But it is not necessarily that where there is cognizance condition, there is mutuality condition. There may or may not be mutuality condition. For example, between ceta and rupa bond of ceta, right? So between ceta and rupa bond of ceta, there is only cognizance condition, but not mutuality condition. Now, this is compared to a tripod, each leg of which assists the other 2 legs reciprocally in enabling the tripod to stand upright. So it is compared to 3 sticks put together, and so that they stand. So here it says, the conditioning state in the relation of mutuality gives its force to the conditioned state and also receives the force of the conditioned state. So it gives its force to the others, and it takes or it receives force from others. That is mutuality condition. But in the sahajata condition, it is only one way. Now next is support condition, nisaya. The support condition is threefold. Consciousness and mental factors are... Okay, the support condition, nisaya paccaya, is threefold. Consciousness and mental factors are a condition for one another and co-nascent material phenomena. The four great essentials for one another and derived material phenomena. And the six bases for the seven consciousness elements. So, here, the sahajata nisaya and purijata nisaya are mentioned. Now, consciousness and mental factors for one another and co-nascent material phenomena, that is sahajata. So it is the same as sahajata. That means they arise at the same time, and one is a support for another. And then the four great essentials for one another and derived material phenomena. This is also sahajata nisaya. So these two are the same as in co-nascent condition. And the six bases for the seven consciousness elements. This is what? Pure jada. Pre-nascent support. That means they arise before the conditioned state, and they are existing when the conditioned states arise. And here conditioning states are six bases, eye base, ear base, and so on. And conditioned states are seven consciousness elements. That means all 89 types of consciousness, right? You remember these seven consciousness elements? There are 18 dhatus, right? So among the 18 dhatus, there are Chakku Vijnana dhatu, Soda Vijnana dhatu, and so on. So they are called seven consciousness elements. So seven consciousness elements means the same as 89 types of consciousness. So here, six bases are the conditioning states, and seven consciousness elements of all types of consciousness are conditioned states. Now, eye base. When seeing consciousness arises, it depends on the eye base. And that eye base arose before the arising of seeing consciousness. That means when seeing consciousness arises, eye base is already there. It is in its static stage, second stage, or present stage. That is why it is called Pure Jada, before arisen. So, which has arisen before. Now, Pure Jada Nisaya condition includes two subsidiary types. So, Pure Jada Nisaya is divided into two. One is Vattu Pure Jata Nisaya, which is identical with base pre-nascence, discussed under the pre-nascence condition, the same as pre-nascence condition. The other is called base object pre-nascence support. Now, there are four names here. Vattu, Aramana, Purejata, Nisaya. So that thing must be at the same time Vattu, Aramana. I mean that thing must be at the same time a base and an object, and it must have arisen before, and it must be a support. So something that can answer these four conditions is only one, and that is heart base. So heart base is a base, and it can be the object. We will come to it later. It can be the object, and it arose before the Jeta arises, and it serves as a support. So heart base is called here base object pre-nascent support. Vattu aramana purejada nisaya. So, thus, on such an occasion, the heart base is simultaneously a support and an object for a single Jeta. Now, referring to this condition, the Patthana states, one contemplates with insight. That means one practices vipassana meditation on that internal base. So, one may take the heart base as an object of vipassana meditation and try to see it as impermanent, suffering, and non-self. So in that case, that heart base is a base object pre-nascent support condition for the Jeta. One enjoys it and delights in it. That is another thing. Not vipassana. One enjoys it and delights in it. One is attached to it. Making it an object, lust arises. Wrong view arises. Doubt arises. Restlessness arises. Displeasure arises. In that case, when one delights in it, delight means a kind of lobha, right? So, the heart base is the condition and the lobha is conditioned. Wrong view may arise, taking heart base as a condition. Doubt may arise, restlessness may arise, displeasure may arise. So, in these cases, the heart base is the base object pre-nascent support condition, and lust and others are the conditioned states. So, purejada, pre-nascence, can be divided into vattu purejada, that is just a base, and then vattu aramana purejada nisaya. It must be base and object, and it must have arisen before, and that it must be a support. Next is nutriment condition, ahara. How many aharas are there? 4 aharas. Where do you find them? Second chapter. 7th chapter, right? Page 275. Edible food, contact, volition, and consciousness. In Pali, Kabbalikara ahara, phasa, cetana, vijnana. So these 4 are called ahara. Number 1 is rupa, and number 2, 3, and 4 are nama. Okay. The nutriment condition is twofold. Edible food is a condition for the body. That is one condition. An immaterial nutriment, that means nama nutriment, for the cognizant mind and matter. Now, this nutriment condition, the main function or the essential function of nutriment condition is supporting or reinforcing. But it also produces. Although its main function is supporting, at the same time it supports, it produces also. Now you eat something. So there is ahara in the food. And that ahara produces rupa born of ahara, right? You go back to the 6th chapter. So here, ahara condition is not pure supporting or reinforcing condition. It is producing and at the same time reinforcing. So later on you'll find that material nutriment is a nutritive essence found in edible food, which is a conditioning state for this physical body. This physical body means our body which are caused by one cause, 2 causes, 3 causes, 4 causes. When food is ingested, its nutritive essence produces new matter born of nutriment. So it produces, and it also reinforces the material groups born of all 4 causes. So it produces and then it maintains them, or it reinforces them, keeping them strong and fresh so that they can continue to arise in succession. So ahara condition or nutriment condition is producing condition as well as supporting condition. The internal nutriment contained in the material groups born of all 4 causes also serves as a condition by reinforcing the internal material phenomena. So internal nutriment serves as a condition by reinforcing the internal material phenomena, coexisting with it in its own group, and the material phenomena in other groups situated in the body. Now, let us take, you remember the groups of rupa? Go back to the 6th chapter. Let us say kaya dasaka. Let's say chakku dasaka. Eye decad. Eye decad means eye sensitivity, 8 inseparables and jivita, right? So among the 8 inseparables there is ahara, right? Oja, nutriment, right? So here by reinforcing the internal material phenomena coexisting with it in its own group, that means in its own group, and the material phenomena in the other groups situated in the body, so in the other groups as well. So it coexists with its own group and the matter in the other groups situated in the body. Now, mental nutriment. There are 3 mental nutriments: phassa, cetana, and vijnana or ceta. So these are conditions for the cognizant mental and material phenomena. So they must be arising at the same time, and one is the condition for the other. Now, contact. So you can pick up any ceta for contact, phassa, right? So first lopa mula ceta and 19 cetasikas. So phassa there is nutriment condition, and ceta and the others are conditioned states. And Chetana, say, you can pick up any Cheta. And then consciousness, or you can pick up any consciousness. So, the immaterial nutriments are conditioning states for the cognizant nama and rupa. So, let us take again the first Lobha Mula Cheta. There, phassa is the nutriment condition, and Cheta, 18 Chetasikas, and Rupa born of Cheta are conditioned states. Like that. You explain the others too. Okay, now faculty condition. How many faculties are there? 22 faculties. You have to go back to 7th chapter. The faculty condition is threefold. The 5 sensitive organs are a condition for the 5 kinds of consciousness. What are the 5 sensitive organs? Eye, ear, nose, tongue, and body. They are for the 5 kinds of consciousness. Eye consciousness, ear, nose, tongue, and body consciousness. And then the material life faculty, Rupa Jivitendriya, for the material phenomena born of karma. The immaterial faculties for cognizant mind and matter. So the first one is what? Pre-nascent faculty. Again, eye sensitivity must have arisen before eye consciousness. And when eye consciousness arises, it must be existing. It must be in its present stage. So, in that case, eye sensitivity is the conditioning state and seeing consciousness is the conditioned state. This condition is compared to a panel of ministers, each of whom has freedom of control in governing his particular region of the country and does not attempt to govern the other regions. That means they are supreme in their own fields or in their own domains, and not over all. As stated in the text, there are 3 types of faculty condition. So 1 pre-nascence, 2 material life faculty, and 3 cognizance faculty. So pre-nascence faculty are the 5 senses, 5 sensitivities, which are conditions for 5 kinds of chetas. Now, good eyes produce acute vision, while weak eyes result in poor vision. So that is good eye sensitivity is a condition for acute vision. That means acute seeing consciousness, good seeing consciousness. And weak eye sensitivity is a condition for poor vision or poor seeing consciousness. The second is material life faculty, that is Jivitendriya, in the material groups born of karma. So, how many groups are born of karma? 9 groups. So, in those groups, there is always the Jivitendriya, right? So, that Jivitendriya is a condition for the other material phenomena, 9 material phenomena in the same groups. For it controls them by maintaining their vitality. So it supports them, it maintains them, so that they do not go stale or something like that. Number 3 is the 15 immaterial faculties are each a cognizance faculty condition for the associated mental states and the connascent material phenomena. 15 immaterial faculties. What are they? So you go back to what page?
273.
273. Now let us find out the 15 immaterial faculties. Now, is number 1 immaterial faculty? No. Number 2? No. Number 3? Number 4? Number 5? Number 6? Number 7? Number 8? Yes. There are two kinds of life faculty, right? Rupa and Nama. So, we get 1. And the mind faculty? Yes. The pleasure faculty? Yes. Pain faculty? Yes. Joy faculty? Yes. Displeasure faculty? Yes. Equanimity faculty? Faith faculty? Energy? Mindfulness? Concentration? Wisdom? And then the faculty I will know the unknown? The faculty of final knowledge? Faculty of one who has final knowledge? Yes. So there are altogether 15. Although there are 15 immaterial faculties, in reality, how many? You don't know. Jivita, right? And then Chitta. And then pleasure and so on are Vedana. Right? And then faith, Saddha, energy, Viriya, mindfulness, Sati, concentration, Ekagata, and wisdom and others, Panya. 8, right? So, Jivita, Chitta, Vedana, Saddha, Viriya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya. So these 8 actually. Although by name there are 15 immaterial faculties, in reality or by ultimate reality they are 8 states. 8 Chaitasikas. So they are each a connascent faculty condition for the associated mental states and the connascent material phenomena. So you can take, let's see, mind faculty. Mind faculty means Chaita. Or let's say Jivita, right? Nama Jivita. So Jivita Indriya arises with how many Chaitas? 89. Oh, 89. Then you can pick up the first Akusala Chaita. 19 Chaitasikas. So from 19 Chaitasikas you take Jivitendriya. So Jivitendriya is the faculty condition, and other Chaitasikas and Rupa born of Chaita are conditioned states, right? Vedana. You can take any, and let us say Saddha. Which Chaita will you take it as an example for Saddha? First Kamavajra Kusala Chaita, right? So you pick up Saddha, and Saddha is the conditioning state, and Chaita plus 37 Chaitasikas and Rupa born of Chaita are conditioned state, like that. Now, in the guide, of the faculties, the 2 sex faculties of femininity and masculinity do not become conditioning states in the faculty condition. They are not included in faculty condition, although they are included in 22 faculties, right? In 22 faculties there are masculinity, femininity and masculinity. But they are not taken as faculty condition in Patthana. They are excluded because they do not have the functions of a condition. A condition has 3 functions: producing, supporting and maintaining. So if they are to be conditions, they must either produce or support or maintain. But these sex faculties do not execute any of these functions. Nevertheless, they are still classed as faculties because they control the sexual structure, appearance, character and disposition of the body. They have control over these, so that the whole personality tends towards either femininity or masculinity. So they have control over these sexual structure, appearance and so on, and so they are called faculties. But in the Patthana, they are not included in the faculties because they do not have the functions of a condition. So in order to be a condition, they must produce, they must support, they must maintain. Here, they do not produce, they do not support, they do not maintain. They just have control over some structure or appearance and so on. So they are not included in the faculty condition. And the other explanation is that faculty condition is common with presence condition. So if one is to be a faculty condition, one must also be a present condition. That means both the conditioning state and conditioned state must arise at the same time, or exist at the same time. But when at first masculinity or femininity arises, there are no sexual structures, appearance, characters and so on. You know, at the moment of Patisandhi, how many rupas arise for a human being? Only 30 rupas. So among them there must be femininity or masculinity. But at that moment, you know, at the first moment of Patisandhi, the being is very, very small. So at that moment, there are no sexual structures, sexual appearance, sexual character, and sexual disposition. They are not yet, they have not yet arisen. So they are not present at that time. That is why masculinity or femininity cannot be called a condition. Okay, next is the dissociation condition, vipayutta. The dissociation condition is threefold. At the moment of rebirth linking, the heart base is a condition for resultant mental aggregates. And consciousness and mental factors for cognizant matter by way of cognizance. So this is one dissociation. The post-nascent consciousness and mental factors for this pre-nascent material body by way of post-nascence. This is the second dissociation condition. The 6 bases in the course of life for the 7 consciousness elements by way of pre-nascence. Now pre-nascence. So we get here three dissociation conditions. The first one is what? Cognizant. The second, post-nascence. And the third, pre-nascence. So, in order to be a dissociation condition, it must arise at the same time with the conditioned state, or it must have arisen before or after the conditioned states. Now, this vipayuta, although mind and matter arise together, they are said to be not mixed. So they are dissociated, although they arise together. So it is compared to a mixture of water and oil, which remain separate though placed together, or six tastes mixed together. So when you mix six tastes together, they taste differently. They do not really mix. They are not blended. So they are still separate. So in the same way, although mind and matter arise at the same time, they are said to be dissociated, not associated. And only those that are suspected to be associated are called dissociated. That means, at the moment of patisandhi, heart base and patisandhi citta arise together, so close to each other that we might suspect that might there be sampayuta or association there. In order to avoid that, in order to prevent that, we say, no, this is vipayuta. So, everything that is dissociated is not called vipayuta condition. Because matter and matter are also vipayuta, right? Sampayuta is said of only mental properties, like cetasikas. So cetas and cetasikas can be sampayuta. Somanasa sahagata, ditthikata sampayuta, right? So when we use sampayuta, we use for cetas and cetasikas, not for ceta, cetasika and rupa. So the name vipayuta or dissociation is given to those phenomena that are suspected of being associated. Otherwise, we do not call them dissociation condition. So that is why rupa and rupa are not called related by dissociation condition, although they are dissociated, because they have no sampayuta nature. So, dissociation condition is a condition where the conditioning state is either a mental phenomenon that assists present material phenomena, or a material phenomenon that assists present mental phenomena. In this relationship, the two components, the conditioning states and the conditioned states, are necessarily of different types. So they are not of the same type. When one is nama, the other is rupa. If one is metta, the other must be mind. If one is mind, the other must be metta. So this is like a mixture of water and oil. Thus, at the moment of rebirth, the heart base and the mental aggregates arise simultaneously, each a dissociation condition for the other. So heart base is a dissociation condition for cetas and cetasikas, and cetas and cetasikas are dissociation condition for heart base, by reason of a particular characteristics that distinguish them as material and mental phenomena. At the moment of rebirth again, The mental aggregates are a condition for the other kinds of karma-born matter. So, at the moment of Patisandhi, there is karma-born matter. There are 30 karma-born matter. So, the mental aggregates are a condition for the other karma-born matter. And during the course of existence, it is a condition for mind-born matter. So, at the moment of Patisandhi, they are a condition for karma-born matter. During life, they are conditioned for mind-born matter, citta-born matter. Dissociation also comprises pre-nascent and post-nascent types. The former obtains between matter and the conditioning state, as the conditioning state, and mind as the conditioned state. So, the pre-nascent dissociation condition are those that are matter, and their conditioned states are matter is their conditioning state and mind conditioned state. And the latter obtains between mind as the conditioning state and matter as the conditioned state. That is for post-nascence. So for post-nascence, conditioning state is the mind and conditioned state is matter. These are identical with pre-nascent support condition and post-nascence condition respectively. Now pre-nascence, in the pre-nascence, rupa is the conditioning, right? Like again, eye sensitivity and eye consciousness. So eye sensitivity arises before, and then when eye consciousness arises, it is in its static stage. So it is pre-nascent purejata. Post-nascence is citta arises and it supports the rupa already there. Rupa born of one cause, two causes, three causes, and four causes. So, in the pre-nascent condition, matter is the conditioning and mind is conditioned. In post-nascent condition, it is the opposite. Mind is the conditioning and matter conditioned state. So, three kinds of dissociation. And then presence and non-disappearance, there are 5 kinds. Pre-nascence and non-disappearance conditions are altogether of 5 kinds. Co-nascence, pre-nascence, post-nascence, edible food, and material life, jivita. So that means sahajata ati, purejata ati, pachajata ati, ahara ati, and drupa jivitendriya ati. Now, since they are common with ati, they must be existing, say, when they are conditions. They must be existing with the conditioned states. So, present condition and non-disappearance condition, these two are the same, identical in meaning and differing only in the letter. So only the names are different. In this relationship, a conditioning state helps the conditioned states to arise or persist in being during a time when it exists alongside the conditioned states. It is not necessary, however, for the conditioning state and conditioned state to be co-nascent. That means to arise together. It is not necessary for them to arise together. All that is required is for the two to temporarily overlap. That means one arises before and then the other arises while the first one is still existing. So that means overlap. Temporarily overlap. And for the conditioning state to support in some way the conditioned states during the time they overlap. Thus, present condition includes pre-nascence and post-nascence as well as co-nascence. Sahajata also we can have here. While the text mentions only 5 types of pre-nascence present condition, since these 5 in turn include additional subsidiary types, present condition comprises a wide variety of other conditions. There are many present conditions. This will become clear in the next section, which deals with the assumption of all conditional relations under the 4 master conditions. That is on the right side page. Now, present condition. Nibbana is not included in the present condition. Why? We say Nibbana is nature, right? And there are 2 explanations. Now, present conditions means when it is present, it is conditioned. But when it is absent, it is not conditioned. That is the meaning. But Nibbana is always there. So Nibbana is never not there. So Nibbana is not included in the present condition. And also, the present condition means it must have three sub moments: arising, presence, and disappearance. So when a certain phenomenon has these 3 phases, we call it to be present. But Nibbana has no arising, no static stage, and no disappearing. That is why Nibbana is not called. Nibbana is not included in present condition. Now, if we compare present condition with disappearance condition also, disappearance condition means when it disappears, it is a condition for the subsequent mind Cheta to arise, right? And as in the proximity condition. So one Cheta disappears so that the next Cheta can arise. But here, with regard to Nibbana, presence is always there. I mean, Nibbana is always there. So it never disappears. So it cannot be. It cannot have the disappearance condition. So if it cannot have a disappearance condition, it has no present condition either. So Nibbana is not included in present condition. But we must not understand that Nibbana is nothing simply because it is not included in present condition. So present condition has so many varieties, and you can see on the chart. So mind and matter to mind and matter, how many conditions did we get? 9 conditions, right? And then these 9 have different varieties. And so if we collect all these varieties, we get not only 24, but more than 24, right? Did I give you, here, varieties, right? 24 conditions and they are varieties. Now number 1, what? Hetu, no variety. Number 2, Aramana, no variety. Number 3, Adhipati, has 2 varieties. 1, Aramana Adhipati, And 2, Sahajata Adhipati. Number 4, Anandara, no variety. Number 5, Samanandara, no. Number 6,